Welcome again to our palatial estate, the wonderful studio here in South Florida. The You Name It, We Say It podcast. Joe, Ryan, Aaron, and Pat here once again. Lovely South Florida. Got some exciting news for everybody. We're trying to grow this a little bit. We've had several practices and several different topics. You guys have heard the first couple of these podcasts. We thank you so much for your continued support. I think we hit over 150 likes in our first 24 hours. That is awesome. You guys rock. Thank you so much for spreading the word. Thank you so much for supporting each of us individually and as a group. We really love you for it, and we hope to continue to entertain you. The good news is we're going to start doing a couple different shows. Going forward, starting next week, we're going to start doing a sports-specific show, an entertainment-specific show, and a show geared more towards tech and business. A chance to let us sort of focus on specific topic areas without taking away the focus from some other areas by show to show. Introduce them to you guys. We're going to roll them out every couple days. So we're probably looking at a schedule of a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday rollout. We'll continue recording here over the weekends to give you guys the most up-to-date current content as possible. And we really hope that you guys keep us informed of the topics that you want to hear most. Without your input, we can't do this job. We thank you so much for your support. We do want to pay a little bit of respect to tragedy at YouTube headquarters in California. Another senseless act of violence in this country. Hopefully one day we Americans can get our heads out of our ass and figure out how to stop these things from happening. And also a word to remember to honor every day you have. 15 kids lost their lives in a terrible bus crash involving the junior hockey team here in North America recently. So the idea is to always remember to enjoy every day that you guys get. You know, love your loved ones, hug your loved ones, and you spend time with us to listen to our podcast, and we appreciate that. So, what's going on, guys?
Hey guys, Joe here. Nothing much. Again, been a busy week. I did see that Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg's newest hit, became #1 at last week's box office. I believe it made $40 million over the weekend, and my top 3 Steven Spielberg films are actually very diverse. I think Steven Spielberg has 2 sides to him as a filmmaker. He's got his serious Lincoln films, you know, and then he's got his big blockbuster films such as Jaws. Steven Spielberg is definitely my #1 director in the Hollywood market right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say my top 3 Steven Spielberg films are, starting with the bottom, number 3, I'm going to go E.T. E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Good choice.
Yep, classic science fiction film. It's one of his earlier films, and it's still a classic today. Number 2, a little bit more of a serious film, but still, you know, a little bit of a road trip film. Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. Wonderful true story, great chemistry between the 2 actors. Always love to watch that at least once a year. And then a movie I keep going back to is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. To me, that's the definition of a Hollywood blockbuster popcorn flick. It involves, you know, an adventure, great themes, and one of the most memorable Hollywood characters of all time, Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
What's his name? Han Solo.
Han Solo, Indiana Jones.
Han Solo and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep. Decker from Blade Runner. He played the president once, right? And he kicked someone off the Air Force plane.
Played just about everything.
Yeah, and he's still a wonderful but grumpy man today.
And a terrible, terrible pilot.
Yes. So that wraps up my Steven Spielberg list. I'd like to hear from you guys, too. Name some of your favorite Spielberg films.
My top 3, well, let's go from the bottom, I guess. Number 3 is going to be E.T. E.T.'s got to be on there. Made a ride about it. Not even that. It was a movie they spent, I think it was maybe $19 million on that movie, the budget. They made $300 million, I believe, on that. And so that just showed where he started from as far as, you know, making a profit on the movie. Next big movie for me, number 2. Well, it's hard, you know. You got E.T., you got Jaws, you got Poltergeist. It just depends on what genre you want to look into. But I guess for me, I'm going to go with Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park came out in 1993. It was the summer blockbuster. Came out in June. And then going back to looking at those numbers, here's where you see something astronomical. $63 million budget. Do you know how much money that film grossed at the box office?
No idea.
No.
Over $1 billion.
Wow.
So That was one of his best movies of all time, as far as the box office goes and the content. I mean, you talk to anyone, they know Jurassic Park. Number one, though, Back to the Future. Gotta love Marty McFly and Doc Brown. What about you guys, Ryan?
I'm not a huge movie guy, but I've seen a few of them. E.T. is by far my favorite. I thought it was very heartwarming. Came out in 1982. Just thought it was a really cool story about this little alien creature who gets lost and needs to find his way back home and becomes befriended by one of those boys. Just a really cool story. The young boy Elliot who befriended him. I also love Jaws, which came out in 1975, and Jurassic Park. I thought they were all great movies, very entertaining and fun to watch. Something interesting about Steven Spielberg movies, a lot of them have turned into rides at Universal. I know Jurassic Park is a water ride. E.T. is a cool little adventure through space, I guess. And
Yeah, it's a mushroom trip is what it is.
yeah, exactly.
Trippy.
Jaws was a great ride. It closed in 2012, which upset me because I love Jaws. It was a fun ride. I used to be scared of it as a little kid, but as I got older, I really enjoyed it. And then you said Back to the Future. That was a ride at Universal.
Yeah, that was a ride.
I
now
did not
is
like that ride.
well, that's The Simpsons now.
And I don't like that ride either.
Well, it's literally the same exact ride.
It's like
They just put a different skin on it in a different
I
video.
threw up in Back to the Future, and I feel like I'm going to throw up every time I go on The Simpsons.
Last time I went on The Simpsons, I felt the same.
I just don't like those motion simulators. They make me nauseous.
Every time you think of Spielberg movies, I feel like you also think of Universal Studios, the theme park.
Yeah.
It just goes hand in hand.
For sure.
You guys listed a lot of good ones. I'm going to throw out a couple that you don't really think of him, or you really don't think too much today, that were earth-shattering movies at the time. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie. The Blues Brothers, the original Blues Brothers movie.
Great.
Excellent.
Yep.
The Poltergeist, one of the movies we consider to be an original horror movie. Gremlins. Everybody's
That's
gotta
a
love
classic.
Gremlins.
I forgot about Gremlins.
Empire of the Sun, a really good World War II epic. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
That was one of my favorites. He was a.
Was that Steven Spielberg?
He
though?
was part of that?
Yeah, he was the executive producer and wrote
Okay.
part of the script.
Okay.
One of my favorite horror movies because it was also a comedy, Arachnophobia.
Huh.
I'm horrified of spiders, but that
Okay.
movie was hysterical. I'll give you one more that you guys really didn't mention, and I don't blame you for not mentioning it because it's a movie that not a lot of people really want to think a lot about, and that would be Schindler's List. Probably the quintessential 20th century Holocaust movie. That is obviously it's a longer film. It entails not the most positive subjects, but the cinematography used black and white and put certain things in color. The way the story is told about him saving people and the way that he shows Oskar Schindler himself outside of the storyline of the Holocaust was really a powerful movie. So I throw all those out there. I think E.T. is a great one. I think Back to the Future is great. I think Back to the Future is actually featured in Ready Player One, isn't it? I think
That was
Yes,
one of the
the-
promos in the trailer.
The DeLorean is actually the race car that the main protagonist of that movie uses during the race.
So there you
scene.
go. I think him and George Lucas would have to be two of the probably most important directors, filmmakers in our lifetime. Maybe Ron Howard, maybe Francis Ford Coppola. You know, those are some of the names of people that really have done a lot entertainment-wise.
Well, when you think of the best directors of all time, Alfred Hitchcock is up there, obviously. I guess it also depends on what you're looking for, but
For sure.
the number one for me, at the end of the day, Spielberg.
Absolutely.
He's came out with a lot of great movies that have been enjoyable to all types of people. Done a great job. And speaking about movies, a lot of people don't even need to go to the movies anymore or watch a TV show on TV, but they can just do it on a streaming site like Netflix, Hulu, any of those. What do you guys think about these streaming sites? Not enough? Too many?
See, all of you weren't old enough to remember Blockbuster Arrows, to depend on it as much as I did when I was a kid. I remember in the mid to late 90s, getting out of middle school or high school and going to run into rent a video game or something like that. So, at any rate, I think to me, I think they're neat. I think they give us that instant gratification so many of us want. I personally only really use them for documentaries or for old movies. I really don't watch any of the new content that specifically are made by them. I don't know what you guys do with it. I'm not as much into it as other people are.
Netflix and chill.
I look at the technical side of it more. Looking at the user interfaces, Amazon Prime is almost as horrific to use as using Hulu. You turn on Hulu and it gives you a screech when you turn it on. This noise. It fills the entire house. My dogs start barking. The alarms go off. The windows break. And on top of that, it's jittering. It doesn't even tell me where I left off my last movie. Meanwhile, I go on Netflix. It lets me know where I left off in my last movie.
I'm a Netflix person.
I just turn it right on. It goes right to the movie, right on my Apple TV. I have nothing bad to say about Netflix, and I wish Netflix would be the only streaming service just because of how perfect they
Yeah, I'm
are.
definitely a Netflix person. Lots of great shows, funny shows, serious shows, documentaries, anything you could want, you can get it on Netflix and never leave your bed or your couch. It's just a great thing for me. I don't like going to the movies and sitting and dealing with all the people. Pop my own popcorn, watch whatever I want to watch on Netflix, and when I'm ready to go to sleep, I turn it off and go to sleep.
So I have a lot to talk about this topic. I think Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, soon to be released Disney streaming service, which is going to have Star Wars, a Star Wars TV show produced and written by Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man. It's going to have Marvel TV shows on it. It's going to have all of Disney's movies on it. That's coming out next year in 2019.
The only problem with me for that is when I hear Disney streaming service, I immediately think of Frozen, Lion King, and just stuff like that. I feel like they need to work on another name too, maybe.
You're right, but again, Disney just owns so much properties. They got that Fox deal going on right now. They own Lucasfilm. They own Marvel Studios. Lucasfilm includes not just Star Wars, but Indiana Jones, which is my number one Steven Spielberg movie of all time, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. To me, that's the definition of a blockbuster Hollywood film. But anyway, I have to say the streaming services have incredible original content on them. Netflix, Stranger Things, they have magnificent movies as well that they create. I think all of these streaming services will eventually take over cable. And I think that sports networks are going to have their own streaming services for displaying, obviously, football games, baseball games.
They already do.
What?
No, they already do.
You're right. But
You have Sunday Ticket, you have League Pass.
MLB,
is it similar to
Innings.
Netflix or like Hulu Plus in terms of their...
Well, it's different because it's
It
live.
has to be a different style just because it's live. But you also have the MLB, whatever it is. It's the extra
I think
innings.
it's the extra innings.
If you look at it online, you can actually go back and watch every single game from that season and the box scores from every individual game.
That's cool. I
Okay.
didn't know.
That's interesting. So I will say, lastly, is that people will complain that it's too many services, it's too much money. Let me put it to you this way. Each streaming service is roughly around the $10 price per month. But that doesn't limit you to one television. That's your account. So you can put it on your computer, on your living room smart TV.
On your ex-girlfriend's, boyfriend's
Exactly.
TV.
Well, people are going to
100%.
bitch about anything. People need to
Yeah,
get
but
over it.
again, cable is roughly what? Almost $100 a bill? Pat, you would probably know about that. I don't pay for cable, so...
Satellite for me, satellite on 3 televisions with the regional sports package, which includes every regional sports network around the country. I pay for MLB extra innings to watch the Orioles. I pay for Sunday Ticket to watch the Ravens. I pay for the basic movie channels, HBO, Showtime, Cinemax. I pay around $230 a month.
Holy
for that.
crap.
Now, having said that,
Okay.
I don't watch hardly that much television. But I pay for it because if I want to watch something, give you a great story. Every Saturday night after my son goes to sleep, my wife and I will sit up on the couch, and you said Netflix and chill. When you have a child, Netflix and chill means you have a glass of wine or a beer and you pass out on the couch. That's what Netflix and chill means.
Not as fun as the millennial Netflix.
Yeah,
and
your
shit.
millennial Netflix and chill ends up with Netflix, chill, and more babies.
Let's hope not.
Yes.
So I like flipping around TV on the stations that go above the typical. So occasionally on a Saturday night, I'll flip around and watch some random Christian or Jewish broadcasting network. Or I'll watch some random Hallmark random thing that... I was watching a show the other night with my wife about some guy that was born in Philadelphia. He was born to a former nun and Catholic school teacher. he goes to Israel, and he becomes a Jew. He converts to Judaism. All right? And the story, and he is also a stand-up comic. And it was a story of the guy's life and about how he lost people in suicide bombings and how he struggled to find his identity with God, whether he was... All right? This is all 3 or 4 beers deep in a real deep thought mode at 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Okay? But I would rather pay the money for the satellite to be able to do that.
You'd rather have it. And
so the streaming problem that I have is you pay money for the streaming service and you still have to sit through commercials half the time. If I'm going to... Yeah, you do. If I'm watching...
I don't concur about that. I haven't seen any commercials.
When I do... What was it that I did that included ESPN3? Whatever it was, and I'm watching a game on ESPN3, they stop for commercials. So in other words, if I subscribe to DirecTV and it connects to ESPN3 online, if I'm watching ESPN3,
it stops, yeah.
They still stop for commercials.
Now, the thing is, it's a live game, correct?
It is.
That's why.
But see,
they pay for advertising.
If I'm going to pay, then the network double dips. That's where I get annoyed.
I agree. But in the end of the day, say you have 5 subscriptions for a streaming service, that's $50 roughly. $55, $60 the most.
Much cheaper.
Compared to cable, which you said was
very
hundreds.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
So, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more financially better for some family members. And I think that's the way the industry's going, in my opinion.
There's also streaming services, not just for videos, for live games, but there's a company, NVIDIA. I don't know if you heard of them. They make graphics cards for PCs. Graphics card, if you're not aware, is pretty much what gives your PC the ability to run a game looking the best at high-definition settings visually. Now, anyway, graphics cards have recently got very expensive, especially due to the mining craze and the just the memory shortage. But NVIDIA's way to solve this is by making their own super graphics cards that they're able to actually stream out to individual people in their homes. Right now it's in the beta version, but pretty much the meaning is you don't need your own dedicated graphics card now. You could pay a certain amount of money per month to a company to stream using their graphics card. So that way you can play your games the way you want it. It just shows you that this streaming services goes way beyond videos and everything, even Apple Radio.
Yeah, I agree. I think sports bars are going to start using streaming services instead of cable.
I think they do already.
Really?
I think when there's circumstances where you go to some bars where they will use a wireless connection to stream a game here or there. I mean, for instance, you go to some sports bars that are like mom and pop sports bars, not your big time chain type places that may do something like that. We have a bar back at home in Baltimore that does something like that. So I think it happens. In the end, and this is sad for me to say, is the hardcore Alex P. Keaton. I don't think any of you remember or know who Alex P. Keaton was. He was a character in a TV show called Family Ties in the 80s. He was a super conservative young kid played by Michael J. Fox. It was one of Michael J. Fox's first roles. All right, so this is the Alex P. Keaton in me, the hardcore Reagan conservative. All right, some of these companies are making way too much money doing it, and they're taking advantage of people too much. If you're going to offer online streaming and it's associated with somebody's media account, then there should be 0 commercials and 0 ads.
I agree. And speaking of the sports bars, we all came in here to do the show today starving, so we ended up going to a little Mexican place, and it brought us up on the topic of sports bars with March Madness ending, baseball and hockey, NBA and hockey playoffs starting, and baseball starting. Where is your favorite place to watch a game? There's a lot of great ones, the Duffys, the ale houses, brews rooms. Where's your favorite place to go and
My
have a
couch.
beer? You're watching it at home.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm watching it at home. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm having a beer with my 3 dogs and, not worrying about anything, not paying $8 for a drink. I have, any food I want. I can go and get at Publix.
I see that point of view, but there's something to me about a big game going into a bar. Like, the Heat are going to be in the playoffs starting next Saturday or Sunday. There's something about it to go into a bar with a bunch of other Heat fans and watch the game together. I enjoy that.
Yeah. You're basically watching it with a crowd, but you're not at the live game.
Right.
Which is pretty awesome. I love going to Duffy's and Buffalo Wild Wings to watch a game.
Duffy's is great. I carry my MVP card on me all the time just in case I see one and stop in for some food. But another thing about sports bars I like is during football season, you'll never go in and you're not going to find a whole group of people watching the same game because they have each TV has a different game on it. So you're going to see the Raven fans, the Patriots fans, the Dolphin fans, the Jets fans. They're all going to be yelling at each other. It's going to be a big, fun, organized chaos. People getting into it with each other. It's just fun and enjoyable as long as you do it responsibly. It's like a good time.
It's like a sports team gang war in a Duffy's.
Yeah.
They're ready to strike each other.
What do you
out.
think of these places has the best food?
My house.
Well, your mom's a great cook.
When Randy's cooking, it can't be wrong, you know? She
Right.
cooks for an army, but man.
You don't leave the game hungry when Randy's cooking.
Those calzones, man. Good.
I like the crab legs at Hooters a lot.
I don't like
honestly.
Hooters.
They're really expensive, but I like the crab legs a lot there. I'd probably say the best place to go for food is probably Duffy's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think their food is probably the best. Obviously, you go to a place like a Hooters or a Tilted Kilt or something, you get a lot of beautiful women serving you who are scantily clad, which most guys are not going to disagree that it's not a good way to have a meal. But I'll be honest, I think an underrated place that you can go catch a game that people don't think a lot about are places like Flanagan's or Mulligan's.
Yeah, no one talks about Flanagan.
Which I think they're not really sports bars. They're more of like a seafood restaurant or just like a bar and grill kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they have TVs out, so
Yeah.
you can definitely catch a game.
And something about Duffy's that makes me happy, unlike the Twin Peaks, the Tilted Kilts, the Hooters, you can't take your girlfriend or wife to that. And most of them, they're not going to feel comfortable going into that place. And it's not really going to be much for them to eat there. You take them to Duffy's, everyone will leave happy. They will all most likely enjoy what they eat, and you can watch the game in peace. I just think it's a relaxing, fun environment to watch.
Except my wife, she'll eat the crab legs all day. She loves the crab legs.
You'll look at the girls and you'll eat the
She
you'll eat the
loves
crab
it.
legs.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
I
don't
just
steal the crab
have
legs.
to mention about Flanagan's. They serve you large portions of greasy food. You're coming out of that restaurant 9 months pregnant, man. You're going to be bloated. Your belly's going to be sticking out.
You guys are over here talking about Flanagan's right now. You want to hear my experience with Flanagan's?
Go ahead.
I used to
Go
work at the Boca Raton Airport. We used to get takeout every day, just because it's easy and we'd be working all day.
Flanagan's.
Of course, one day we're like, all right, let's try something different. We went and got Flanagan's. My supervisor decides to get what they call the dolphin fingers. It's supposed to be fish fingers made with mahi-mahi, otherwise known as dolphin fish.
I love mahi-mahi.
And anyway, they gave him 4 sticks, no longer than my middle finger here, about that long, of just pure grease, fried, and you couldn't even tell how much fish was in this.
Most of the guys going into the sports bar want pure grease.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm getting at is they charge this man $25 for 4 pieces of grease, pretty much, and all in all, probably 2 ounces of fish if you're lucky.
Where is there a Flanagan's in Boca?
I don't believe it was in Boca. It's Deerfield.
Okay.
Yeah, not too far from Boca, but
Why I like going to sports bars too. You mentioned, Aaron, that you like watching the game at home and having a nice beer at home.
yeah.
You can't get draft beer at home.
Unless you have a kegerator.
You're right, but I mean, I love draft beer over bottled beer. So much smoothing and refreshing.
The only way that I'm gonna go into the bar to watch a game, or not even to watch a game, it's got to be a boxing match or a UFC fight.
Right.
You know, that's what brings a lot of people into those bars.
I remember Joe, myself, and someone we won't mention their name went in August to watch the Mayweather-McGregor fight. We couldn't. We went 3 hours before the fight, and we could not get in. And we tried Flanagan's Quarter Deck, Ale House. We went to Ale House. I made us sit with these 3 random people that you could sit with them. And I'm like, I'm going to sit here for 4 hours with these random people I've never seen before. I'm not sitting there. I'd rather pay and watch it at home.
Bro, we couldn't go
We
anywhere.
didn't end up watching the fight. We couldn't watch it.
No, and they sat us down with random people, which felt really weird and uncomfortable. I was about to say, let's just go to like a friggin' Taco Bell and stream it off our phone.
Maybe we went to Moe's. Didn't we end up at Moe's and watch it at
We
my apartment?
were planning on it, and that probably would have been a better time than sitting down with a stranger.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. Fights, they get busy for fight nights. Speaking of fights, you hear about Conor McGregor, isn't he? Didn't just get arrested.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back to UFC after that. No way.
Tell yourself that. That's fake.
Yeah.
That they are going to juice that for as much as they can juice it for. The UFC is becoming what wrestling is, with actual real combat. They've added all of these cockamamie drama stories about this, that, and the other thing, about who said what about who, and so on and so forth. It's what the NBA is.
I don't watch
Someone said
UFC,
something
but-
bad about somebody, and they all get their panties in a wad.
That's why people like the NBA. The kids get to see it on Twitter. Joel Embiid arguing with Whiteside, and they play each other. Everyone wants to see Embiid versus Whiteside.
All of that drama going on in that sport reminds me of the South Park episode when they were making fun of wrestling, and it was like a Broadway show. You guys ever watch that episode?
There was an episode, but I believe that they would do that on this.
Yeah,
You know,
it's so funny.
If I'm going to watch a boxing match, a wrestling match, or anything, I'm not going to pay any money. I'm going to the Boca Town Center Mall and watching these people.
Tickets?
Huh?
Oh, I see where you're going to go.
No, I'm just watching two people try and buy the same blouse. It's the last one they have left. It's literally, it's better than McGregor versus Mayweather.
Eleanor and
Eleanor versus Meredith, you know?
yeah, who's going to win that one?
They're wrestling on the floor, clawing at each other.
Black Friday. Go on
grabbing
Black
the
Friday
circles.
and see those
Oh
old
my
women go
god.
at it.
Those
Okay.
Black Friday videos are insane.
They're funny.
The worst place I think I've ever been where I saw like a fight was a farmer's market. Have you guys ever heard of the Boys Farmers Market?
I have. I've
It's
been there.
excellent.
Yes. I
Great.
live right around the corner from there.
Oh, no, they have great produce, great prices, but terrible people shop there. Terrible. They actually have to have a armed police officer now watching the inside of the shop just because these people are ruthless and run over your foot, will bump into you. Like, if you're on the ground, you're getting trampled. This is
That
Black
parking lot's
Friday
nuts,
every day.
too.
I've seen crashes every 15
That
minutes.
place is
there.
nuts.
It's ridiculous.
The officer would be yelling at them.
All people are ruthless. We see a lot of them down here. It's funny. Speaking of drama in the sports world, Joe's a Giants fan. There's a lot going on with Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. Rumor is he's on the trading block, and they would like 2 first-round picks for him, according to Adam Schefter. Joe, do you want to see Odell back in Giants blue next year, or do you want to see him somewhere else?
Absolutely, I want to see him back. He is probably our best player on that goddamn team. I wish he didn't get injured and only played for 3 or 4 games last season. But, I mean, there's no reason why they should trade him.
I'll give you a couple of reasons why they should trade him.
Don't you dare say personal life. That should not play a factor.
Let me talk. Mike, you had your time, my time. 2 reasons. The team is not close to winning a Super Bowl. With or without him, can you argue? If he comes back with an old Eli Manning and a shit of an offensive line, are they close to winning a Super Bowl? Be honest.
A shitty line? You're saying only negatives, though. I mean,
Your offensive line sucks.
What does the Giant have that's positive?
Yeah, what's positive about the Giants? Other than Odell. Other than Odell.
They have a couple linebackers and a couple linemen. I mean, that's about it.
They have a
Defensive
decent
line. That's
defense,
it.
yeah. But,
I'm curious about their new coach that they finally have on board.
and Pat Shermer coached in Cleveland. Odell's going to walk all over that guy, and here's the reasons you trade him. You're not close to winning a Super Bowl. If someone comes and offers you 2 first-round picks for this guy, take the picks. That means 3 first-round picks. You can build up the offensive line. You can get a quarterback to replace Eli when he finally retires, because he stinks right now. And a receiver to replace Odell.
Eli Manning, one of my favorite NFL players, grew up with him as a quarterback on that team.
He's the failure of a family, though.
Oh, shut up. I mean...
Peyton's the man.
You were talking
No, Peyton is the man, but I have to just mention, I think either this season or next season is going to be Eli's last.
Exactly.
He's
Don't
done.
forget about Cooper.
Right, of course.
Don't forget about Cooper.
the third Manning brother.
I'll make it very, very simple for you. You take a video of yourself sitting next to a woman cutting lines of cocaine.
Yeah, come on. You're a
In
professional
the
athlete.
largest city, the largest media market in the country. Football coaches are guys that want as much control as possible, more than any other sport. So I could see Shermer not wanting
to deal with
Odell there.
Another thing,
However, the Giants, being who the Giants are, the classy organization that they've been for 50 or 60 years, they're going to give this guy a second chance. Because not only are they a team that gives people a second chance, they had Lawrence Taylor on their team, for crying out loud.
you say second chance, but he also has some other antics. The going out on a boat in Miami the same week, 3 days before a playoff game.
But this didn't involve breaking any laws.
No, he didn't break any laws. But why are you doing that? You're the leader of the team. They need you.
Because he's a diva idiot wide receiver.
Yep.
The wide receiver position, anybody listening to me right now, you have children that want to play football, do not let them play wide receiver. They end up being complete, utter assholes.
It's true.
Do not let them play receiver. Kids that play, and I know because of school, the kids I coached basketball to play receiver. They are the biggest, most egotistical, egomaniac kids in the world.
All about
They
them.
do not know how to be part of a team. I promise I'll let you talk.
Yep.
He is like Des Bryant and Michael Irvin and Chad Johnson. I'm not calling him Ocho Cinco. Chad Johnson and the rest of those moron #1 speedster wide receivers. They're a bunch of assholes. I can't stand any of them. And in the end, he moves the needle in New York. He's popular in New York. He sells jerseys to kids who aren't Giants fans. He's not going anywhere. He will be in blue in the fall, catching 95 balls for 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns for a 3-13 team. It's exactly what's going to happen.
Pat, everything you said is completely true. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. They're going to give him a second chance. And again, he sells tickets. But I have to mention, everything that he did is not related to him playing the game.
But it's related to his team that has to deal with the distractions of him.
How?
The coach is going to have to answer questions.
But it has nothing to do with the game.
But it does. If you're distracted from the game, they
Once
can't
again,
play.
It's his
you missed
personal
my
life.
whole point. You missed my whole point. Coaches want to be in control of everything. If your team is being asked about the antics of your receiver in a press conference, as much as you don't think it involves the game, it does. Because Monday through Saturday is all about preparing for Sunday.
And if he's out on a boat snorting cocaine with a woman, it's distracting the
It's distracting to the team because the team gets asked questions. So he will still perform.
Yeah, he's great. He'll be great.
He will still perform, but it hurts chemistry of the team. The best example I can think of is one that involved the Ravens. They were lucky in the fact that Ray Lewis's issues in Atlanta happened right after the regular season in 1999, where they had 6 months to get past it, 7 months to get past it, and they had a head coach that would tell media, "Don't you ask about this murder conviction. He pled out of it, and we're not trying it again." People would like to give Brian Billick a hard time back in Baltimore. He was the best coach for that situation. Pat Shurmur ain't Brian Billick. He's not going to tell people in the media, "Shut up and go away." Number 2, that happened in 2000 before they had social media and all this crap. This is 2018.
It's all going to be over.
Shurmur couldn't survive in Cleveland. I could coach in Cleveland for a season.
Win a game, you'll be a hero.
That's my point. So
I understand.
it becomes a distraction for the team. I don't think it'll hurt him.
No.
But I think at some point of time, the team is going to get tired of answering questions if he keeps acting like a distraction. If there's nothing that he does between now and then, they'll be fine. And I could even see Shurmur with how he knows how to coach offense. They could go 9-7 and challenge for a wild card because they play in a crappy division. Dallas is crappy and Washington's crappy.
If he's missing games, obviously that's going to lead him to his downfall, from his social life and everything.
And they could suspend him.
Oh,
They very well
absolutely.
could suspend him.
He wants a new contract.
But-
He said he's not playing until he gets a new
Again,
contract.
all of this draft trade pick, it's all rumor right now. It's all talk.
Of course.
We can't take it seriously at the moment, but again, it's a good discussion to talk about, because it may very well happen that
But
he
you
might
still
not be on
Shepard,
the
right?
What?
He Shepard's your 2, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
So let's just say in a wild sense, Beckham leaves. Let's just say in a wild sense he goes somewhere else.
Okay.
You still have a formidable number 1 in
And you have
Shepard.
3 first-round picks if you make the
And
trade.
you can, if you get 2 1s,
Right.
that's what they want. If Mara really wants to get rid of him, and someone's offering him a 1 this year and a 1 next year, or a 1 this year and a 2 next year, or something like that, he might think that's all he can get and make the trade. I think it's always funny when sports fans say, and the Orioles do this all the time, "I wish the Orioles would trade for pitching. They have to find pitchers." You have to have a partner to trade with you.
Exactly.
It's not just as simple as, "I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy a piece of ham."
The Heat fans are all saying it. We got to trade Whiteside. He's a distraction. Yeah, he is a distraction. He's a moron.
Who's gonna
But
take
nobody
him?
wants him. No one wants to pay him $25 million.
You have to have a partner. And I don't think anybody sees Odell Beckham Jr. as a 2 first-round pick talent. I don't. I think there's only one player in the league that I would say is that kind of talent at
Rodgers.
this point. I would probably say Aaron Rodgers. And the second one I would probably put that tag to is probably Gurley with the Rams. Those 2 are the only guys that I would say are guys that I would instantly say, "You know what? I will give you 2 1s for him."
Speaking of the Ravens, your team's had a lot of problems with distraction.
Of course they have.
They had Ray Rice beating up his wife. They had Ray Lewis doing his thing. They're saying good for the Ravens to deal with all that stuff the way they have and always being a competitive team.
They had a streak where 4 years they had a guy arrested for beating his wife, driving drunk, running illegal card games in his house.
That's the NFL way.
That's how they do. And this is why it doesn't hurt Odell Beckham as a player. NFL players and NBA players are criminals at heart. As much as you want to tell me I'm wrong, they have a tough, competitive, pissed off side. It's not a racial thing. It's across racial boundaries. You have to have a bit of a violent, angry edge to play football.
Yeah.
You have to. If you're soft and you're Gentile, you get your ass whooped.
That's same with coaching. Look how quick Joe Philbin got kicked out. Like, he was a soft motherfucker, and he's gone. I don't even know where he is.
Does anybody know Joe Philbin's backstory?
Yes, with his son.
His son drowned when he was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay.
His son died.
A completely tragic background. He was too soft to be here. I hate to bring something that has nothing to do with sports. Jimmy Carter. I did a lot for peace in the Middle East. He was the most soft, gentle guy ever as president and got his ass kicked in 1980. Almost a one-term president.
Nice guy finished last.
Exactly. You have to have a strong demeanor about you. So I think Beckham's got that. I think if he gets into the right place where his coach knows how to handle him, he's a Hall of Fame guy.
New England. They're saying
that could be. However, how much longer is Brady going to play?
They just traded Brandon Cooks for an extra first-round pick. Just saying, maybe he's going to play for Brady and Belichick. I hope not. I think the Dolphins like hell. But
what was Randy Moss's most successful team year?
New England.
When he played in New England.
They went 16-0.
His best individual years were in Minnesota, but his best team year was when he played in New England. Corey Dillon, best team year was when he played in New England. So while on the topic of the New York Giants and the NFL and businesses that own us, it'd be interesting to bring up the idea of Facebook, who basically owns us. I can't think of many people that don't have a Facebook presence, but now apparently they have the right, or they think they have the right, or there's a legal precedent now to sell our information to others and to stalk us. What do you guys think?
Well, if you also think of it too, it's from a business standpoint. They're not selling anything from their website. They're giving you it for free. Their main source of income is from advertisements. The best way for them to get a higher income is to target those advertisements towards you. And the way they do that, by selling your info of your recent search histories, where websites you've been, so that way it knows what to target on your Facebook page as far as advertisements that you'll in turn click and make Mark Zuckerberg a few more $1 million.
Right. I got nothing to hide. They could see what I search, but at the same time, there's no reason why they should know my search history or my background, my profile, whatever you want to call it.
That's the way Tim Cook thinks it should be. Tim Cook with Apple. Ever since Steve Jobs left, he's been taking over. But he says that he puts up the argument that they shouldn't do that. It's morally wrong. It's ethically wrong. And there's even sources that came out and said that Apple could have done the same thing and made millions and millions, even possibly billions of dollars selling all these iTunes accounts infos and all this other stuff. But Tim Cook comes out and says that's not part of what Apple wants to do. It's just not part of who they are. They sell their products, and that's how they make their money.
Good. That's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
I agree with Tim Cook.
Yeah, your product should speak for yourself, you know.
But then you have Mark Zuckerberg coming out here saying the reason that he's doing this is to keep Facebook up and running. Do you know why Facebook was made in the beginning? Why it was made?
To keep people connected?
To connect people. He wants to connect the world. And his argument was that out of all the people that he wants to connect in the world, how are all these people going to be able to afford a medium to go on just to talk to someone else? Mm-hmm. If they can't even, let's say people, wherever they are, they can't get food, they can't get a roof over their heads, at least they're able to connect to the world somehow. Do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook, it succeeded by its goal was to connect people.
It does that.
Yes, but at what cost now in the present day? Now the corporate suits came in and took over and are like, we got to make some money off this. We got to find out their search history, their background. What are they looking at? Let's show them some advertisements of their most searched.
That's the creepy stuff.
It's very creepy.
It's creepy when I go, say I went to Carvel to get one of those things called the Carvalanches. Mm-hmm. It's a whole other topic. Those are delicious. But You go to Carvel, I get my Carvalanche. 5 minutes after I leave, I get a notification. Hey Ryan, you were just at Carvel. How you want to rate Carvel? No, I don't want to rate Carvel. I don't want you to even know I'm at Carvel.
You were just talking about that with Starbucks. Went to Starbucks earlier and they sent you an
Starbucks
email.
popped up an email that I had been in I'm different than the three of you. I think to myself, Facebook is going to want to make money either way. So either I pay a subscription fee at some point, or they can sell my info. Sell my info. My thing is, give the user a chance to choose what Facebook can do.
That's like
either
a checklist.
Let me pay $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever it is, or sell my stuff. I don't care if they sell my stuff because people can call me, target, add me. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to hit the ignore button. They can leave me a voicemail. I'm going to dump it. I don't care that much about them selling my information. But if you don't want your information sold, then you shouldn't have your information sold. I have a problem with neither. To me, I'd rather you sell my stuff than me keep my money because Facebook, for being my age, I keep up with kids I haven't talked to from high school in 20 years. Mm-hmm. So I like the use of Facebook.
I love Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest.
But I'm just warning you, it's a slippery slope. Facebook does this, and then Twitter will do this, and then Instagram will do this. Eventually Snapchat will do this. Now, between snaps, you get advertisements as you snap through people's individual stories. You get advertisements pop up. I get advertisements. Maybe I didn't do it right, but I get advertisements pop up between people's snaps.
You get it on videos too. You watch a video. I'm watching like a 3-minute video of a highlight or something. I'm like a minute and a half in. We will break for an advertisement. I'm like, I don't want to watch an advertisement. I want to get to my 3-minute video.
YouTube is horrible with that.
Horrible.
Oh, I know.
Horrible with that.
Awful.
I mean, now you could pay for YouTube Red, which basically gives you advertisement-free streaming, but
And it kind of brings it full circle. The only thing I will pay for in streaming is Pandora. I will give them $1 or $2 a month for the Pandora, but I think it's called Premium or Pro or whatever it's called,
I think it's
where you have
premium.
unlimited skips. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing
Spotify does that too.
that I will subscribe to. That's it. Anything else, other than cable, other than satellite, I'm solid. So, but Facebook is if Facebook's gonna do this, all the rest of these companies are gonna.
I need Facebook. I couldn't even tell you when people's birthdays are if it wasn't for Facebook. That's how I make people happy. If I don't see the birthday thing on Facebook, I will never wish anybody a happy birthday other than my mom and girlfriend.
Right.
No, I was going to say, Tim Cook isn't the only one going after Mark Zuckerberg right now. It's almost like Zuckerberg versus the world. He has Elon Musk also coming at him about his views on AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, it's just, making a computer act more and more like a human, have its own mind, think for itself. And Mark Zuckerberg thinks that, not that he thinks that it's a good idea, but as long as it keeps making him money, he's going to think it's a good idea.
Would you say he got greedy over the years?
Oh, I would definitely say, and I wouldn't say over the years, I'd say from the beginning.
Yeah.
We've all seen the movie, and, as much as we didn't want to believe it, it just becomes more and more apparent every day, the truth that comes out in that movie about who Mark Zuckerberg is, just after the money.
I walked out of the movie.
You did.
I thought it was terrible. The whole idea of it creeps me out. That you get robots that have the ability to think on their own, they have the ability to make their own decisions. That freaks me out.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
Very weird.
But
we're getting close with Siri.
I was just
That's
going
another
to
thing
say,
that freaks me the hell out.
this is all going to happen in probably my son's 3 years old in his lifetime. We might not be around. I probably won't be around for it. I'll probably have a heart attack in the next couple of days.
No, God, no, we need you. Heart attack.
But there will be people that are alive today that will see robots as androids, humanoids, that basically act like, talk like, think like people.
Siri freaks me. I can't with that thing. I'm asking a question, it gives me an answer in like 0.3 seconds. Like, how the hell did you find that so fast?
Yeah, and again, like Siri, we're getting close. Look at manufacturing companies. They have those big mechanical robot arms that do a job that regular humans used to do.
With a quantum processor, you're going to get one question, but you're going to get multiple different solutions to find the most suitable solution. And so quantum processors are very hard to develop just because there's not one solution. You're going to have 10 million plus. So now that we're actually able to start making these processors, these AI is going to start skyrocketing.
Well, to add a little artificial or real life intelligence, I think it's time we wrap this puppy up for this week. Like I said, next week, please keep your eyes peeled on all of our different platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook. We call that going full circle in the radio business. Not bad. And all the rest of our social media profiles.
Right.
Keep an eye out. We'll
Any
have
suggestions, send them our way.
Please.
We're open to it. Keep listening, keep following, keep enjoying.
We gladly and happily appreciate the love and support you guys are giving us so far. We want to grow and keep on entertaining you guys. So, again, keep following our social networks and give us some topic ideas. Again, where you name it, we say it. We want to hear from you guys, too.
Have a great week.
Seacrest out.
Peace in the Middle East.
Bye, Felicia.